Despite what some news reports may lead you to believe, schools are actually very safe places. In fact, they are one of the safest places in your community. But that doesn't mean that they are immune to things like violence, victimization, and self-harm. Check out these statistics.
When action is taken as soon as warning signs appear, tragedy can be prevented. 74% of people who complete suicide tell someone their plans or give some other indication. When no action is taken to prevent violence, there can be tragic consequences. Most mass shootings are planned for 6 or more months. In nearly every case, warning signs were given. That's a lot of information, but you'll learn there are easy steps you can take to protect yourself, classmates, and your community, and help prevent threats, violence, and suicide.
The adults in your school are focused on keeping you and your classmates safe, but may not always see all the potential signs of trouble. As a student, you have a powerful role in keeping your school, your peers, and yourself safe. People often show warning signs before they make threats or are violent towards themselves or others. If you learn how to look for warning signs, signals, and threats, act immediately, take it seriously, and say something to a trusted adult, you can reduce violence, threats, and tragic consequences and create safer, healthier schools and communities.
I have a lot of friends here. If they're ever in trouble or need help, I want to get them whatever support they need from a teacher, a counselor, or a parent. I might not be able to fix the problem myself, but I can get them the right support if I say something.
There are things at my school that the teachers don't know about. We have to look out for each other. If somebody's going to do something, I'm going to speak up.
I think we've all had those days where we're like, ugh, I don't want to be here. I'd rather just be home. But if I were really going through something and I needed help, I'd want someone to say something. It's not always easy to admit that you need help or to ask for it. And it's not about calling people out or snitching. It's about getting help. And you never know. Sometimes it could really make all the difference.
So let's start with our first step and learn how to look for warning signs, signals, and threats. We'll talk about what each of these look and sound like. Warning signs are thoughts, feelings, and behaviors that indicate a big change and that a person might need some help. These are all examples of warning signs. It's important to remember that we're looking for significant changes. Now let's look at our definition of a warning signal. These are gestures or actions that tell us something. Sometimes they are obvious, sometimes not. Here are some examples. You'll want to remember that these aren't exact. You can use them as a guide. You'll also want to remember that people may look, act, or like different things from you, and that's okay. It doesn't necessarily mean they're giving off warning signs. It's not about who someone is, but rather what they do. Now let's look at threats. This is when someone says something in person or online and they want to harm someone or themselves. Here are examples of what someone might say or write. Now let's talk about where we can find these signs, signals, and threats. Much of the time, we find these warning signs, signals, and threats on social media, but you can also see or hear them in class, in the hallway, or in the cafeteria. You are in a unique position because you see and hear things adults might not. You might hear someone say something or see a picture on Instagram. Maybe someone posts a video on YouTube or sends a text. Here are some real-life examples of warning signs, signals, and threats that were shared on social media. This is why we're here. When we see things like this, we need to learn to say something. The Safe2Say program isn't just about preventing violence, suicides, and threats. it can also be used to get someone the help they need.
Based on the scenario on the left, select the option that best answers the question.
I am gonna make you regret the day you met me.
Based on the scenario on the left, select the option that best answers the question. Based on the scenario on the left, select the option that best answers the question. Based on the scenario on the left, select the option that best answers the question.
Really, it could be anywhere. My social media, or at school, at the bus stop, or even just hanging out with friends. Anywhere that I interact with my classmates is a place I might see warning signs, so I just try to keep my eyes and ears open wherever I am.
The place I've noticed the most actually is in the hallways at school and during lunchtime. I think people let loose a little and say things they wouldn't usually say in front of teachers. And it could just be that they're having a bad day. But what if it's more than that? I just watch out for anything that doesn't sound right.
I feel like a lot of people use social media to signal that they may need help. And they might not even know that's what they're doing. Sometimes the posts just don't seem right. But if you're paying attention, you realize it's a warning sign.
Personally, I found them in my classes. Since I see the same people there every day, I notice if something changes or if their mood seems really different. And I hear people talking to each other before class starts. You know, if I hear a classmate threaten someone, even if they don't mean for me to overhear, or maybe it's just a joke, but I still have to assume it could be a real threat.
You never know what someone is going through, whether it's struggling with problems at home or difficulty with schoolwork or something else. By knowing how to recognize possible warning signs, signals, and threats, you could help a friend or classmate receive the support they need and possibly prevent a tragedy for themselves or others.
And remember, this isn't just about violence and suicide. Warning signs, signals, and threats can be an indicator of other at-risk behaviors, including verbal or physical bullying, substance abuse, sexual abuse, eating disorders, and cutting.
Now that you know how to recognize warning signs, signals, and threats, you might feel ready to take action. But some people have trouble getting to that step because they aren't sure if and when they should take action. We're going to focus on that in step 2, act immediately and take it seriously.
You're about to encounter some situations that you might find in your own school, on social media, or out with friends.
How would you react? How would you react? How would you react? How would you react?
Sometimes people don't act immediately and take warning signs, signals, or threats seriously because of barriers they see. I didn't want to snitch on anyone.
Snitching is when you're purposely trying to get someone in trouble for your own gain. When you say something, you're getting someone help for their own or someone else's safety.
I didn't think someone my age would really hurt anyone.
Sadly, people of all ages have been victims and perpetrators of violence and self-harm. Nobody is too young or too old.
I figured if she was really serious, she never would have told anybody.
Although it may seem strange that someone would announce plans of violence before it happens, this is usually the case. Often, people want help but don't understand they need it or don't know how to get it.
I thought she would feel better tomorrow.
Often, people want to give it time or wait and see. But sometimes, any amount of waiting is too much, and then it's too late.
I know I'm not trying to snitch or get anyone in trouble. I'm just looking out for myself, my classmates, and my friends.
I have a lot more to lose by not acting immediately and not taking it serious. I wouldn't want that weighing on me, knowing that I could have done something, but didn't act.
I think we want to tell ourselves that they're just kidding or it'll pass, but I just couldn't take that risk with my friend when she was posting all that stuff about wanting to give up. When someone's gonna hurt themselves or someone else, they usually talk to someone about it first. I'm just so glad that I took her post seriously because she's still here. And I don't know if that'd be true if I had just brushed it off.
You hear stories about kids who knew someone was making threats, but just talked to each other about it and didn't say anything to any of the adults in the school. Then something bad happens and all these people admit that they heard the comments, but just dismissed it as that person being dramatic or trying to get attention. I'm not an expert in that kind of thing. I'd rather take it seriously and act right away.
There's a difference between getting someone in trouble and getting them help. When you see or hear something that concerns you, don't wait to see if it's a joke or hope someone else will speak up. So far, you've learned how to recognize warning signs, signals, and threats, and why you need to act immediately and take it seriously. Now, you need to say something. But who do you tell? And how do you start the conversation? To find support for the person in need of help, you must identify a trusted adult. So let's master step 3. Talk to a trusted adult. If you see someone who needs support or spot a post or comment that troubles you, who do you tell and what do you say? You must find a trusted adult and say something to them. Adults have the experience and ability to respond appropriately when someone is in need. You can find trusted adults throughout your school and community. Trusted adults can include teachers, your principal, school leaders, school support staff, resource officers, guidance counselors, coaches, parents or caregivers, community leaders, religious leaders, police officers, and more. The important thing is to find a trusted adult you feel comfortable talking to and know how to contact them if you need to say something.
Now let's talk about how to have a conversation with a trusted adult. First, you want to gather any information that might be important. Texts, tweets, photos, videos, and bring them with you. When it's time to say something, it can be hard to start. Here are some examples. I must talk to you about, or she has threatened to, or I need your help now to get him help, or I'm noticing.
I'm really close with my mom. I tell her everything, and my science teacher, Mr. Williams, is really helpful. When a friend of mine was always getting treated badly by her boyfriend, I talked to him about it. I was kind of nervous about it at first, but it turned out to be really easy, and he helped her get out of that dangerous relationship.
Our school staff are really helpful and easy to talk to. All I have to say is, I need to speak to you, and they know what to ask. The important thing is to say something.
My coach is great. He's real easy to talk to, and he responds well.
My principal, Mrs. Clark, is always open to talking. I went to her once when I noticed some posts by a classmate that were concerning. I just brought in screenshots of the posts to her and shared the students' information. It wasn't intimidating or difficult at all.
It's important to know that you can talk to the trusted adults in your life, especially regarding the potential warning signs, signals, or threats you observe. When you would prefer to submit a report without revealing your identity, you can also use the anonymous reporting system to submit a tip.
Safe2Say Something works in 3 easy steps. Step 1, you report the anonymous tip. Step 2, your tip is then reviewed by a crisis center who may then contact you anonymously with more questions. Step 3, once the crisis center has enough information, the tip is sent to the school and local authorities to act upon. You can submit your tip using the mobile app. If you don't have a cell phone, you can call the 24/7 hotline to the crisis center at 844-SAFE2SAY. That's 844-723-2729. Or you can use the Safe2Say website at safe2saypa.org.
Now you know how to recognize warning signs, signals, and threats. Act immediately and take it seriously. And say something to a trusted adult. But why should you do this? And how do you help others do the same? Remember, you are the eyes and ears of your school and community. You see and hear things that adults and others around you may not. That gives you the unique ability to get help for someone who needs it. You have the power to protect yourself, your classmates, and your community, and help prevent violence, suicides, and threats. We're always stronger when we look after each other and stand together. What if everyone said something when they spotted warning signs or heard a threat? You can help create a culture where stepping up and saying something is the norm. By reminding your friends that if they see something that worries them, it's always best to take action. Help them learn the 3 steps. Step 1, look for warning signs, signals, and threats. Step 2, act immediately. Take it seriously. Step 3, say something.
It's better to say something than wish that you had. It's what I did when my friend was being hurt by her boyfriend. I saw something that worried me, and so I got help.
I have the power to stop someone from hurting themselves or others. If I say something, I can make that difference for someone else.
I say something because it's what I would want someone to do if I needed help. That's how I like to do my part, by reminding my friends how easy it is to make a difference.
We're all a team. Not just you and your friends, but everyone at school. We have to watch out for each other because sometimes people need help and they just don't know how to ask for it.
I like to lead by example, and saying something when I spot the warning signs is just right.
Think how awesome it would be if we all do that. We don't wait if we think there's a problem. We say something.
You see some posts on your social media news feed from a classmate who is bragging about having access to weapons and promoting violent imagery. It's best to ignore the posts for now. If he continues posting violent or concerning things, then someone else will handle it. A classmate offers to give away some of her most prized possessions, including her grandmother's necklace. She is not moving or trying to sell the items. She only says that she won't be needing them any longer. Your friend says, "I've noticed that Selena suddenly stopped coming to dance practice and never wants to hang out anymore. Now all she posts about is getting messed up with her older boyfriend. She seems angry all the time." Should you talk to an adult about Selena's behavior? Most of the time, people who commit acts of violence keep it a secret and don't tell anyone what they're thinking or planning. What are some examples of the people you could say something to when you notice warning signs, signals, and threats? Option 1, your teacher or guidance counselor. Option 2, your soccer coach or school resource officer. Option 3, your younger sibling or classmate. What is the third step to prevent violence and keep your school safe? Step number 1, recognize warning signs, signals, and threats. Step 2, act immediately, take it seriously. What is step 3? Option 1, say something to a trusted adult. Option 2, confront the person who displayed the warning signs, signals, and threats. Option 3, tell your friends about what you saw or heard.